Thank you again, everybody, for coming and for being here this morning so that I could get to the part where I wanted to share what I do as well with you. So, you know me, I'm Karen Kroll, and in addition to being the Holistic Chamber president for this chapter, I am also a health and wellness coach. I actually shifted into that space 7 years ago, and I am a Juice Plus partner, and that's whole food nutritional products, delivering fruits and vegetables through capsules, chewables, and now a drink mix and some other protein shakes and things like that, but all natural and NSF certified. And then now I'm currently in a program I'm going to be finishing up in about 2 months to become a certified trauma-informed coach, so life coach. I'm moving into a new space. And I am helping parents who have found themselves in a new challenge. They are now trying to redefine their role as parents and usually it's due to empty nest transitions. And then there's also estranged parents, so parents who have estranged relationships with adult children. And my coaching practice is called Life After Parenting, guiding parents to heal, rediscover purpose, and thrive in their next chapter. And make sure that changed over. And so the question that comes up for parents who find themselves sort of in this transition is, who am I now? Now that I'm not, parenting doesn't look like it always looked. And they can really struggle with this, but the reason why there's two groups, and you would think that they are not necessarily have anything in common, but they really do. So there's the empty nest parent, as I said, and then there's the estranged parent, just to keep it short, the one that is all of a sudden cut off from a relationship with their child. And they do have shared commonalities, and I'm going to get to that. And so the empty nest parent, they're the ones that we're going to assume they've successfully launched their kids into the world. The kids have flown the nest, as I like to say. And all of a sudden, their house is quieter. There was hustle and bustle and activity going on, and now it's very quiet. And that quietness can really be unsettling for them because they're not used to it. It's been 18 plus years that they've had a quiet house. And so it kind of highlights where they're at, and it brings that awareness to them. And they also, their daily purpose is unclear to them. They don't really know what their purpose is outside of being a parent because they've spent 18 plus years pouring into their children. And they have, again, if they've successfully launched their kids, then they're also proud parents, that their kids are off into the world. But they can also exhibit their own inner sadness because they don't really know how they fit anymore into their kids' lives. And they may have guilt if they've had maybe anything go, that's happened in the relationship with them. And so there might be even guilt mixed in with it. And then from the outside, all of the friends are like, hey, you should be happy. This is like your freedom years. And they are happy. They are looking forward to it. But it's like I said, it's a mixed emotion, and they are sad at the same time. And they don't want to let people know that necessarily. So the estranged parents have a different kind of thing going on. They are grieving. And, they have, there's two types of, if you know anything at all about the new, I call it trendy because we're at epidemic levels now with this, where kids, and I do want to say the adult children are primarily the ones statistically who cut off the parents. So if I'm working with parents, so I'm going to say, if their kids have gone low contact or no contact to them, then they are all of a sudden without a relationship and a connection to their children that they weren't planning on. And so it's a grief, and they call it an ambiguous loss because there's no closure to it. It's not like a death that has a finality to it. It's, are they coming back? How long will it take? What do I do? You're ruminating about everything that you've done that might have even caused it. And so there's shame wrapped around it, and they don't necessarily, they start to blame themselves. They look back at all the years and say, well, I could have done this and I could have done that. But there's so much negative feelings that we can put on ourselves because we want to go back. We want to fix it. We just want to fix it. And we can't. We're helpless because it's really in the power of the person who has done the cutting off, right? And so there's confusion, there's all kinds of feelings, and people will not necessarily share this with others, especially in the early months. Maybe even the first year, they're keeping it to themselves. They're not even telling their closest friends or their, church friends or their parents or, they're not talking about it. So they're afraid because they feel like people will judge them as if they have failed in their parenting role. And so with that, I just want you to know that, those people are silently suffering. And eventually, as they start moving through the healing process, it gets easier to talk about. And then when you do start talking, you're amazed at how many people are going through this. And actually the statistics now is up to 27. It was 25, it's climbing. It's up to 27% of U.S. Families are affected by estrangement. So not necessarily parent-child, but parent-child is in there. And like I said, it's growing, sadly. So the shared pain points are that there's loss of identity. They don't know what their role is as a parent anymore. How do they navigate this? They want to give freedom. They want to, they want their adult children to feel like they're mature and grown up and they can go out into the world. And so there's a whole identity thing around who am I now? And then they feel strong on the outside, but they're empty on the inside. And that's part of what we were talking about, how people just don't really want to reveal how they're feeling. And if they have a relationship with God and they have a faith, then that faith might also get shaken in the process. Might make you question, what's going on, God, And they're wondering if their best years are behind them. So this work is personal for me. I have lived through all of it, really. I'm a baby boomer. When I was growing up, you had the dysfunctional family. That's what they called it, right? I don't even think they refer to it that way anymore. But I did have the estranged relationships off and on with my mother. I have a brother and a nephew I hadn't spoken to in 30 years. This year, we finally have started our healing process, so that's very good. There is hope. And then 10 years ago, I had a house full of kids. I had a blended marriage. I had 3 adult children who were launching into the world. Within 6 months, my house went quiet. And I went through all this. I even had my own career going on, but I felt like, I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what my purpose is, and I'm just sad. And my husband, he didn't really exhibit as much pain as I did, so I think it does fall to moms a lot. But the other thing is, current day, is I have a 29-year-old son, and he went no contact on me 4.5 years ago. Still don't have resolution on it, don't know where it's going to end up, but I had to find my way through this. I had to find healing and joy and peace again. And I have. And so that's the hope that I want to offer out to people, is that it's there. And it's why I decided I wanted to move into this space as an empty nest and estrangement coach. I want parents to feel like they have permission to grieve, whether you're on this end of the spectrum and it's low or this end and it's high. I want parents to understand it's okay to be sad, because it is a transition. It is a loss, whether it's a happy loss in a sense because you've successfully launched your kids, or you're grieving because you're all of a sudden cut off from a connectedness and a bonding that you never thought would go away. And then there's, like I said, that loss of identity, but the good news is there's also, we're more than just parents. So we have other things that we can identify with, but we have to focus on it a little bit more. So I'm supporting people through that process of rediscovering themselves and finding that new identity. And then helping them to understand that pain, healing, and joy can coexist. They're not mutually exclusive, and you can be back and forth in it. So it's okay, it's part of the process. So my message to any parent whether it's you sitting in this room or to anybody that you might know, is that your chapter is not over. We're able to look at that our purpose does not depend on our child's choices, and that we can reclaim the parts of us that we put on hold in order to pour into our children for all those years. And we can live fully and still love them very deeply. So my question to the parent is, if I wasn't defined by my child's presence in my life or their choices or their relationship with me, who would I allow myself to become? And that's the question that helps to start them looking forward in their lives. And what I wanted to do was share with you that I have a 12-week program called Reclaiming You, Rediscover Peace, Purpose, and Power in Your Next Chapter. This really is directed towards helping parents to emotionally ground themselves in the process of going through the healing process. And so they emotionally ground themselves, they get more clarity. I support them. So because what's going to happen usually as they're going through this healing process is they're looking back at their life and they have their own traumas they've brought to their table. And they have to either revisit them or understand them in order to change them or move forward. And so that process is, we don't want to damage anybody. We don't want them to be re-traumatized. So I provide that safe environment for them to be able to shift through that. And it's, of course, I say of course, to me it's of course, but it's faith-based program. So working with people who have a connection to God. Maybe they need a deeper one. Maybe they need to be reconnected because maybe they're blaming God a little bit for some of this. And so I want to help them get reconnected and just gently remind them that God has a purpose for them. And, through this program, they will discover their new identity and their purpose, and also how to focus on going forward. So what can you do to help me? Tell people about me. I do, like I said, I've got this program. It's one-on-one. I'm also considering doing a group support program. I don't have that all worked out, but it's on the horizon, I think. And so I'm just really wanting to talk to people to see what they need. And so just even if somebody wouldn't really be ready to work with me, I'd like to talk to them just to see what is it that they're looking for so that I can help meet that need. And you have my information. It's in the member directory. So thank you.